Assalamu alaikum. I'm Susan Labadi, president of the board of WISER. I am here to express to you my appreciation for you taking interest in the program that we have developed for WISER certification. And what I want to do today is make the process, I hope, easy to understand. So let's go through a PowerPoint presentation that I hope will make it a bit easier. And here we go. All right. The certification committee for WISER is composed of 3 people, Shahida Ali Khan, Samardalati Ghanum, and Amal Sakara Husseini, who are board members currently, and they were original board members for WISER when we began in 2020. If you need any questions to be answered or have any concerns, you can contact them at certification@wiserusa.org. Now, we were established in 2020, mainly composed of professional educators, subject matter experts, and people who were involved in the development of the country's weekend Islamic schools, as well as the full-time Islamic schools. Our board is involved in wordsmithing to a great extent, and so this represents our vision and our mission. You'll note that we've phrased this as supplemental educational programs because not every weekend school is necessarily done on the weekend. Some of them are done during the school week or on Friday evenings, we found in our country. WISER certification provides guidance and offers opportunities for school stakeholders to discuss and reflect on the school's policies and operations, and adherence to the WISER standards signifies a commitment to quality and continuous improvement, similar to many accreditation programs. In the 9 standards that we have created, they were composed to reflect what we think are the best of the best qualities for Islamic schools. And in doing so, we're hoping that having a process will get everyone, all the stakeholders of the school involved in looking at various aspects of the school so these facets can be worked upon continuously and improved. You'll note these are our 9 standards. So what happens after you file an application to become a weekend Islamic school with WISER certification? We will contact you, get some preliminary information, and then ultimately give you what amounts to an Excel sheet that reflects the information as you basically see here for your school. And then note at the bottom tabs here for each standard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then finally an action plan. You will fill this information out. And for each of the standards, you will see the standard mentioned at the top, and then each of the subcategories for those standards that should be addressed. So initially, you would begin with a yes or no answer to see if these are being applied. And then when it comes to the compliance narrative description, we found several schools felt like they were just looking at a blank page. They didn't know where to start. So we're going to create questions that make it easier for you to just short answer, in a sense, what it is that your school is doing. Or if not, perhaps these would give you some suggestions on how you can make improvements. And then finally, we're asking for evidence. So let's say you talk about having meetings every month with your faculty members. We would want you to include hyperlinks to the minutes of these meetings. If perhaps you're having, let's say, various events for the school, like pageants and competitions, then show us evidence of emails that have gone out, flyers that you have perhaps posted, photographs of students participating. Things like this would be considered evidence. What ultimately happens is that the reviewing team will come out and they will see what it is that you have been presenting, and then look for these evidences, interview the people in your school, and determine if, in fact, everything that you have expressed here is truly accurate. So let me go back to switching into another screen if I could, as we jump ahead. And demonstrate to you what happens next. Okay. So in doing this process, we're hoping that you would understand that all schools do receive guidance and assistance in conducting their self-assessment. So it's not unusual. Don't feel embarrassed if you need to call us, if you're getting stuck on anything. We're here to help. And this is really meant to develop strengths that your school has and identify areas for growth. So when a reviewing team comes out, they're basically looking for some of the things that you're doing really well and some of the things that you feel that you need improvement or that we sense that you need some improvement on. And oftentimes we'll give you some suggestions of what you can do. So what the weekend school should do at this point is review the steps of the certification and the 9 standards, engage in school-wide conversations with all stakeholders. That means staff, families, students, community members, to determine their path forward and to align their practices with the WISER standards. Create a certification committee amongst yourselves to respond to these standards. And the school heads do not have to do all of the work. Please, we ask that you don't. Delegate these standards that are relevant to each of the different subcategories to the people that are in your school and have them fill in the information. You might find it to be quite revealing. Gather all of the evidence and then identify the areas where you think improvement is needed. Successfully complete the WISER certification, you are to become a WISER school member. At that point, we're going to send you an application form, and you will apply specifically for WISER certification. There are fees that are involved in these. And then complete your self-assessment. Inshallah, we'll be able to keep up with the inflow of people who are completing their assessment. And this is a sample of what the Excel sheet would look like when you fill it in. And then prepare for your on-site review. This is the estimation of costs that you would expect. Please note that the cost of travel, meals, and lodging for the WISER team will be covered by the school in addition to the preliminary fees. And note that depending on the size of your school, that will reflect how many team members are required to come out. Because oftentimes we have really only 1 day or 2 days that we need to be able to go through and evaluate as many of your teachers as possible and see, what the students' interviews are like, talk with parents. And I know that typically you're not in weekend school for more than a few hours each weekend. So this is the timeline that you can expect. 6 weeks before the site visit, you're going to complete that self-assessment and submit it to us. And 2 weeks before that visit, we'll have a chance hopefully to read things before this time. Any changes that need to be made have to be solidified. Hotel reservations are confirmed. Many of our board members are residing in the East Coast. I'm in the Midwest, and several board members are in California. So understand that if it's close by travel, that's going to be less expensive. But if you're going to have us coming from other parts of the country, if perhaps you're in the central part, it might necessitate having more people coming in on planes and hotels. All right. And our certification team will make sure everything is lined up just the week prior to our visit. And the day of the visit, these are the things that we would expect that you would have provided for us. So make sure that if you have an opportunity to do this in advance, get them ready. And then finally, when the visit is done and the team has convened to come to their decisions, we will share the preliminary findings with the weekend school leadership. And after that, that team will submit all of their evidences and your reports to the WISER board for final approval. And full-term certification will result for 4 years. A provisional will be at 2 years, and some cases might indicate that you are not approved. We will try our best if we think that you are a beginning school and not really able to hit enough of the standards at this point to give you some good advice and have you work on certain things to get yourself up to par to really be a candidate. Okay. And then afterwards, the school will submit a report showing every other year what it is that they're doing to be able to keep up with improving in the areas that were identified. Of course, failure to submit a report might indicate that you've got a suspension on your certification. So we ask that you please keep up to date and consider this a priority and a commitment that you keep for your school. And that's about it. So thank you for your attention. If you have any other questions, then you could contact us again at certification@wiser-usa.org. And thank you so very much. Take good care. Assalamu alaikum.